take what you can take right now while the getting's good. People should be paid so that they are able and willing to perform socially useful and desirable duties. Okay, so the radical leftists, they react to me this way. They say, well, you hold a position of privilege and power. And I think, first, you don't know a goddamn thing about me, and you have no idea how I got to my position of privilege and power. And it was no birthright, I can tell you that. I was a small, thick-glassed, intellectual, athletic child. I was a year younger than my peers. I suffered plenty of, trouble for my loud mouth and my intellect when I was growing up, I had my struggles. I'm not complaining about it. The point is that you can't attribute privilege to a class of people. And you can't attribute power to people who happen to occupy a position of competence and authority either. There's some possibility that they occupy that because they worked hard and were fortunate, let's not forget about that, and had some good social support and didn't have some horrible disease, thank God. But you can't just make the case that the position is there as a reward. It's not there as a reward at all. It's there as a consequence of the person offering something valuable to those who want to pay for it.
Although failure is always certainly a possibility, it doesn't have to be the final option. We're often taught that through hard work and dedication, you can achieve your dreams. But how hard should you really be working? The future that you set decides that for you and makes a big difference on how you view your daily progress. If you weren't guaranteed a tomorrow, you probably wouldn't work very hard at all. But when your future is something you look forward to living for a long, long time, then the effort you need to put in to realize your vision is much more. Even if you start off in an underprivileged position, you can still make your way to the top. You may falter along the way, but you must go down that road yourself and ignore what other people may be saying. The work you've already put in will be rewarded, and you can make your own privilege despite your beginnings. Keep in mind your own strengths and weaknesses while on your own journey as well. There are different types of intelligences and personalities, but the key is to find out exactly what yours are so you can choose a path in which you will excel. When you place yourself in a situation or job that focuses on your weaknesses, you aren't only letting yourself down, you're letting down everyone around you too. Zero in on a profession in which your particular strengths will put you in a top percentile and become a big fish in a small pond. If you find that you've made a mistake and have made a wrong decision, try again. The only way you are guaranteed not to become successful is to give up.
You need to know them for your own life, because you got to know that there are differences in intelligence. It's really important. If you go into a job and you're not smart enough for that job, you're going to have one bloody miserable time. And you're going to make life wretched for the people around you because you won't be able to handle the position. And as you climb hierarchies of competence, the demand on fluid intelligence increases. And so, unless you want to fail, you don't put yourself in over your head. Well, what's over your head? Well, that's a tricky thing to figure out. You have to figure that out with intelligence, you have to figure it out with conscientiousness, you have to figure it out with creativity, you have to figure it out with stress tolerance, with agreeableness, because you want to go into a cooperative environment and not a competitive one if you're agreeable, and with neuroticism, you probably want to keep the stress level of your job relatively low, because those are all places that you can break down. And most people have at least one significant weakness in their intelligence personality makeup, and you got to be careful not to place yourself in a position where that's going to be a fatal flaw. But what you really want to do, as far as I can tell, if you want to maximize your chances for both success and let's say well-being, is you want to find a strata of occupation in which you would have an intelligence that would put you in the upper quartile. Industriousness involves sacrificing the present for the future, something like that. And it seems like you have to be able to conceptualize time in order to sacrifice the present for the future. One of the things that I would recommend that you do as students in this course, and maybe in every course, speaking of industriousness, is come up with a plan of attack for the course and use a scheduler. If you treat your university career like a full-time job, you're much more likely to succeed. And if you keep up on the readings and you keep up on the essays and all of that, then you're much less likely as well to fall into despair when you get too far behind. Using a Google Calendar or something like that to organize a schedule for the entire semester at the beginning of the semester can be invaluable, especially if you're not very industrious. very industrious because it can keep you on track. And one of the things we know about industrious people is that they are very good at using schedules and at planning the use of their time. How hard should you work? Well, that's a really difficult question. If you're going to die tomorrow, and then you probably shouldn't work very hard today at all. So one thing you might say is that the degree to which you should work hard is dependent on your assumptions about the stability of the future. We actually know this to be true because if you put people in wildly uncertain circumstances, they discount the future, which is exactly what you should do, right? It only makes sense to store up goods for future consumption if the future is likely to be very similar to the past and the present. You need a stable society for that. And conscientiousness only works in a stable society.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content.